Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Professionals Pulse. I'm Farida Musaddi, the co founder and CEO of Al Fateh Technologies Dubai. E governance is increasingly essential in our digital age as it streamlines government operations, enhances transparency, and improves citizen services. Tech companies play a pivotal role in addressing this need by providing vital support and solutions. Leveraging their expertise, these companies can develop user friendly platforms and systems that enable efficient online interactions between citizens and government agencies. They can also assist in data security and privacy measures to safeguard sensitive information. Furthermore, tech companies can aid in the development of digital infrastructure, ensuring that even remote areas have access to government services. In this era of rapid technological advancement, their collaboration is vital in shaping the modern, responsive, and accessible government systems, ultimately empowering citizens and fostering trust in the public sector. Today, we delve into this world of e governance and explore how technology is revolutionizing the public sector. Let's uncover the latest innovations and strategies that are reshaping the way governments serve their citizens. Join us as we discuss the remarkable tech trends and case studies that are driving greater efficiency, transparency, and accessibility in the public sector. Whether you're a government official, a tech enthusiast, or just curious about the digital transformations of e governance, this podcast is your window into the exciting changes happening in this industry. In this episode, we are absolutely thrilled and honored to welcome our distinguished guest, Mr. Golak Kumar Simli. Mr. Golak Kumar is recognized as an award winning government technology strategic thought leader and policy influencer from India, showcasing a proven ability to produce exceptional results in highly complex governance transformation initiatives by harnessing emerging digital technologies and enhancing the lives of the general public. With over 30 years of experience in the ICT domain, he has accumulated extensive expertise, including 16 plus years serving as a CIO, CXO within government sectors, focusing on areas such as public policy, digital transformation, data security and privacy, e governance, program management, strategic consulting, and the innovative utilization of IT and emerging technologies for business transformation and service delivery. In his current role, he was responsible for conceptualizing, implementing, and successfully operationalizing the Passport Seva program, PSP, which stands as the largest e governance initiative of the Government of India. This program serves more than 90,000 citizens daily, facilitating passport related services. To date, over 120 million citizens have availed themselves of passports through the program. The digital ecosystem established by this individual connects 36 passport offices, 93 passport seva kendras, and 430 post office passport seva kendras, more than 850 police districts, and the India Security Press in Nasik. Furthermore, the program is linked to more than 190 Indian embassies and consulates, ensuring smooth passport flow for the global diaspora. He has also played a vital role as a core team member in the design and execution of significant projects, including the NEGP Swan project, valued at US $500 million, and the SDC project, totaling around US $270 million. and the CSC project with a budget of around 740 million US dollars, as well as PSP version 1, which involved an investment of around 193 million. They are currently engaged in the implementation of the Ministry of External Affairs two flagship programs, which is PSP version 2 and e-passport. He has also contributed to the field by writing articles on the application of ICT in service delivery transformation, data, and cybersecurity. He has been invited to speak at various national and international ICT events as a keynote speaker. Mr. Golak Kumar's notable achievements include receiving an appreciation certificate from the International Model United Nations and earning 20 individual accolades. Amongst these accolades, the National E-Governance Gold Award from the Government of India recognizes him as a visionary thought leader. Additionally, he has been honored with awards such as the Honorary Award 2023 for Technology Enablement for the Masses at the World CX Forum, the Data Center Champion Award 2022 from the Indian Express Group, and the Scotch Public Service Award 2021 for going beyond the call of duty. He has also been recognized with awards like the World CIO 200 Awards with the title of the Legend, the Award of Digital Excellence 2020 from the APAC News Network, and the CIO Power List 2020 and 2021 from Core Media Group, along with several others, including the Innovation Heroes Award 2020 from the Dynamic CIO, the Digital Icon Award 2019 from the Indian Express Group, the Amity Excellence Award for Technology Innovation and Leadership 2018, as well as the Data Quest Digital Leader Tech Innovator for the Year Awards in 2018, 2017, and 2022. Sir, I must say it's an honor to have you on our show. We welcome you on the Professionals Pulse.
Thank you, Faridaji. Let me at the outset thanks Al Fateh Technologies Dubai and you having me here. It's a great introduction. I think the journey, as you said, it was a long journey, and I'm sure this interaction would help most of our audience to imbibe how e-governance looks like, what one should look for when they are looking for a large transformations, for a win-win kind of a scenario, both for the government and the industry and citizens at large. So I'm sure this interaction will help. Thank you.
Absolutely true, sir. And since you've been the pioneer, you've been at the forefront of this entire digital transformation within the government, I think you would be the best person to share these insights with the audience and make them aware of the different projects which are happening under the e-governance sector of the government of India. And of course, all of us can agree the PSP, which, as even the records show, have helped millions of people uh, from India and the residents who are staying across to easily facilitate this entire streamlining process of passport services.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Thank you.
So, sir, can you provide an overview of what exactly is e-governance, what falls under its purview, and its significance in the modern public sector?
No, very pertinent. Faridaji, when you asked about e-governance or good governance or transformation at large, whatever we name it, right? I think to my mind, there are three very important areas one need to focus on when we are talking about governance. We are talking about transformation. We are talking about connecting people, right? And the three focus areas are nothing but how do we connect, how do we communicate, and how do we deliver. Now, let me take one by one. Now, when I say how do we connect, When we say how do we connect, when we started e-governance journey in India, the major focus was where do citizens resides, wherever they resides, whether it is a no kind of a rural area, demographic no issue or geographical issue. The idea is to connect them first. How do we reach them, right? And
Correct.
for that to happen, as you rightly gave some of the initiative, initially you thought let's build that core IT infrastructure, no kind of a that kind of a channel where do we communicate with people, right? And that is the time I think we designed something called SWAN, State Wide Area Network. And that network was kind of a communication data network, was connecting from our state headquarters to district level initially, and then all these districts, kind of offices, government offices, where actually mostly the call are being taken at a state level. They were able to communicate to the state headquarter, and in turn the state headquarter was able to communicate to the central government, right? So that was the focus. How do you build this data communication network so that we can reach to the people, right? And then once we laid down that network and kind of a IT infra, then we thought, okay, fine, network is there, but how do we communicate? And when I say how do you communicate, the language they understand. See, the problem we do in governance, the problem we do in e-governance is uh, mostly we feel that whatever we decide, whatever we conceptualize, that is the way people will understand. No, that's not true. I think the idea should be we need to understand how they want to connect to you, how they will understand, you, what you are trying to speak to them. And for that to happen, I think the idea is we need to communicate on their language, their vernacular, wherever they are, whichever capacity they are, in terms of education, in terms of literacy and illiteracy, in terms of, as I say, rural and urban. So those demographic dividends, those educations barrier, those illiteracy and literacy barrier, those economic conditions, no. So when we are conceptualizing, the idea was how do you give equal access to all, right? And that I
Correct.
call the principle of digital democratizations, right? The digital we talk about, the technology we talk about, that must follow the principle of democratization process, right? And when I say democratization process, as I said, there must not be any linguistic barrier, there must not be any economic conditions barrier, there must not be any literacy or illiteracy barrier, right? And you need to deliver wherever they are. It's like delivering 24 by 7, 365 a day, anytime, any device kind of a scenario and anywhere, right? That
Correct.
is one of the major concept one must imbibe when we are planning for these large transformations, large
That's true.
government issues to kind of eradicate and then to reach to the people, right? The last thing is, no, we also thought most of the time, if you see these kind of a governance issue, transformation issue, large scale kind of a addressing the masses at large or citizen at large, the major problem we found is the silos, the various silos existing, the various black boxes existing among them, right? And the idea of the governance or e-governance or technology was how do you make it paperless, how do you make it cashless, and how do you make it faceless. If you these three concepts you imbibed into the technology or in your plan design executions, and then you are trying to deliver, I think almost 90% of your job is done. As I said, the problem we do is you start with a technology or with a solutions or with a process engineering which doesn't connect to people, which doesn't communicate with the people, which doesn't no kind of a deliver or the output or the product which citizens wants from you. It is other way, no.
Correct.
It's like, for an example, you are giving me the example of passport services. The idea was
Yeah.
when you are delivering passport services or when you're conceptualizing this program, we thought, how do I turn around 180 degree? No, whatever it is happening as is, can I turn around 180 degree? Let me quote another example. For an example, saying that when you deliver a passport or someone apply for a passport services or any of these services, why only passport? Whether it is income tax, passport, Aadhaar, no, anything, GST. We have done a lot of plethora of such examples. But the moment you apply for a government services or public services, it's not you need to follow me. Can I follow back you? Right? At every stage. Your job is to apply, your job is to seek that services. My job is to continuously follow you, deliver you wherever you are, whichever devices you
Correct.
are accessing, whichever language you understand to speak with me. So that was the I think the journey which we started. And as I said, that is the time when you conceptualize these three major schemes. One is the statewide area network, second is the data center. Now, when you collect some data, some information from citizens, you need to store somewhere, right? You need to harness that data the way it should be. And that is why the other big kind of a infra which we conceptualized, implemented in the initial stage was the state data center. And the third, the last was, okay, you have fine, you have communication data network, you have no facility where you'll data, you store data, harness data, no kind of a do use of the data. But how do you reach people? And that's where we conceptualize something called common service center. And these common service centers were located across the country, especially at the rural and those section of the society who do not have access to computer and internet at home. So we started
Okay.
with this, and that's the journey we move forward. So that's how it is. Prakash. Thank you.
And so, what are the benefits, according to you, sir, for integrating this technology into the government operations?
Absolutely. I think that's the crux. When we are doing that, idea is to how do you deliver those kind of a benefits, those kind of a enablement which I am looking, or those kind of a inclusiveness I am looking, or those kind of a empowerment for the people I am looking. And technology, as
Correct.
you rightly said, that helped me to create that transparency, that accountability I was looking for, that kind of a no line of communication. How do I establish a line of communication with my citizen? How do I collaborate with various industries or various stakeholders where the ecosystem at large works, right? The another problem
Correct.
we do is when you start these transformations or large scale implementation, we think ourselves, no, you think that okay, I do my internal kind of a process engineering, automation, technology enablement, and that will help me to create that kind of a impact. But that's not true. The idea is how do you deliver as a ecosystem at large. Let me quote another
Correct.
example so that people can connect. When we are transforming this passport as a services at large for citizens across the country, as I said, wherever they are, or why only within the country but across the globe also, across my all embassies and consulate for the diaspora at large, right? So the idea was, ki, how do I create that ecosystem? And when the ecosystem, when I say, for an example, we as a ministry, I can improve upon my processes, my policies, my documentation requirements, so and so forth, right? But what
Yes.
about if I'm sending for a, let's say, police verification process, right? And
Correct.
police authority is one of the biggest stakeholder for verification of your criminal and other antecedents, right? Citizenship, address,
Yes.
criminal background, so and so forth, right? So that is one of the major stakeholder. Another stakeholder, when you dispatch your passport through India Post, there should be end-to-end tracking possible by the citizens, right? And then the last leg, the biggest problem you faced, Fredaji, when you made it complete online, The biggest challenge is no we faced is those section of society, those people, those rural hinterland, no, those farmers who do not have access to computer and internet at home. And you know what it happened initially, we made it no complete online. There was a complete hue and cry saying that what have you done, how is that those people will reach to you in terms of getting a passport. And then we
Correct.
thought, no, no, this is not the way one should proceed, right? Then we thought, how do we now look for a system or ecosystem where I can reach people there and there, even if they do not have access to computer, internet at home, even if they are not digitally literate, I'll speak to their
Yes.
language. And that is the time we connected to these common service centers, right? That is the time we thought creating these kiosk or kind of a internet facilities at every kind of a nook and corner of the country. And when we
Okay.
connected or integrated to these common service center, that point of time, around 2006-7, we were having around 50-55,000 common service centers. And all those common service centers were integrated with the passport issuance system. And then we said, you as a citizen, you need not worry. You must visit to one of these common service center. These are government regulated channel, right? And they will help you out in terms of your filing the form digitally online, submitting your document digitally online, scheduling an appointment to reach to the passport seva kendra, right? And that was the game changer for the citizens, right? We did not have to fall back saying that, no, how do I address this digitally with the citizens? And
Correct.
today, if you ask me, that ecosystem is working so good, no, in terms of helping the citizens, saying that that itself is a kind of a, I'll say, job creations for many of the startups and such kind of a people. They have opened
That's true.
internet kiosk at various places, and other than passport, now they deliver, let's say, railway services, income tax services, so on and so forth. So imagine one program where you are not only enabling people, where you are not only making people connect to the government ecosystem, but at the same time you are also adding to the digital economy of the nation in terms of creation of jobs,
Absolutely.
in terms of creation of a rural economy in that sense in those areas, right?
Correct.
And that's what I call them, how do you drive the government ecosystem at large, right? And that's what we
Okay.
did it. That's what we did it. Yeah.
No, in fact, this is what I wanted to ask you, that in a country like India, where a vast majority of the population comes from the rural background, how was this kind of a service so popular? But as you correctly explained, with setting up of these centers, it not only facilitated those people, but today it is serving as a large contribution even to the economy of the country. So I think it's a very it's a great foresight, which, as you mentioned, you conceptualized way back in the year 2006.
Yes.
So I think, yes, that's truly a very great initiative. And
Yes.
I remember, for anything, there are a lot of people, even in the urban population, not everybody understands or is very familiar with technology. Most of the
Yeah.
people, like the elder generation, find it very difficult. So for
Very
them,
true.
this ease of access is really helpful.
Yeah, and you know now how many those centers are? After 2014, we have increased these centers from 45 to 50,000. Now you know total it is more than 5 lakhs. So
Oh,
2014 around we added up to 2 lakhs or 2.5 lakhs. From there on we started moving forward, and today it is more than 5 lakhs. The another big kind of advantage of this kind of a enablement is these centers are self-surviving center. We do not have to fund these centers. You know, they are
okay.
self-surviving. They are kind of, as I said, those centers we call village level entrepreneur. You know, they are our entrepreneur at the village level.
Correct.
right? And that's why those are named as VLEs, village level entrepreneur. They are self-surviving, they are sustainable over a time, and they are no kind of a self-learnings. There are a lot of innovation happening on those centers in terms of adding no more and more services and making more and more kind of a value add for the not only for the citizens but also for that entrepreneur adding jobs, right? And in the other sense, it is self sustainable. That is another very
Correct.
important one must understand in terms of e-governance, governance, technology. What we talk about, we start with the big bang approach, but what happens after 2 3 years? That program or that project by itself or that transformation started diminishing. That must not happen. The sustainability must not be a question. The sustainability must be built into the business model, right? And
Correct.
that's what we are doing. In fact, for all the e-governance initiatives or the digital transformation initiative, whatever we are doing today, this is the business model is imbibed into the program, right?
Correct.
Intrinsic in. That's what we are doing. Yeah.
So, along with these practices, according to you, what are the practices for ensuring data privacy in these initiatives? Because again, that is a very major concern.
Absolutely. I think to before even we go to the data part, I think one message I must give to the audience, saying that how do you create that business model, whatever we are talking about, not for a self survival, for a long term sustainability, for that kind of a win-win scenario between the public sector at large and industry, right? uh, and that number, that business model is what? It's mere a number. Whatever I talk about, let's say I'm talking about a passport services, there is a number, right? As you rightly said, I'm delivering 90,000 citizens per day, servicing 90,000. If I'm filing a income tax, somebody, no, let's say per day, some income tax filing. If I'm booking a railway ticket, there is some numbers, right? Whatever
Correct.
I do, there is some numbers, and these numbers are, what Faridaji, these numbers are nothing but the data, right?
Correct.
This number says two part. One is your personal identifiable information,
Yes.
and second
Yes.
part is added to that your non-personal data, right?
Correct.
And when you convert these numbers into a business model, into a transactions, into your business KPIs, I think that is the crux, right? In terms of making it sustainable, in terms of long-term collaboration with industry, in terms of giving that kind of a impact to the people in masses at large. And when you collect these numbers, the data, that number when I convert into in the form of a data, the idea is three. How do you capture that data, right? How do you store that data? And when the data, after capturing, it is getting transmitted to the data center or wherever you are keeping that data, how do you transmit that data? And the last leg is how do you harness that data? How do you use that
Correct.
data? Right? So there are four part of a data journey, right? And
Yes.
we as a public sector government fiduciary, or you as a corporate, whenever you do anything with the with a product solutions, or with a service benefits, anything or everything, right? And as part of that, whatever I collect, capture data from there, let's start. How do you capture data? Do you really understand those data sets in terms of, as I said, is it a personal identifiable information? Is it a fiduciary kind of a data? Is it a configurable data? Is it a public data? That is the point one need to start. And if I'm
Okay.
starting with that, right? If I'm starting with that, understanding those kind of a data criticality or the data sensitivity or the data sovereignty. In terms of government, we call data sovereignty, right?
Okay.
I also must understand saying that who is the data principal in terms of that particular data which I am collecting from the citizens, especially the personally identifiable information. For an example, let's say I collect some data from Faridaji to issue a passport, or
Correct.
ABCD to issue a passport. Now, when I collect that data, you are the data principal. I am not the data principal. So I first must tell you, as a data principal, what is your rights and duties in terms of when you are sharing that data with the data fiduciary, or the public sector at large, or the government at large, or a private sector, wherever you are doing that, right? So you must know your right and duties when, and I must communicate your right and duties as a data collection agency or as a data fiduciary, because many a
Correct.
time you will not understand what is my rights and duties, right? And if
Absolutely.
I am missing there, to make that visibility, that transparency, that communication gap, I think there itself I am creating a data security and privacy concern from there.
Correct.
And
That's
if I
true.
make you understand properly, if I am able to communicate you properly, then you are already guarded with whatever you are sharing me, right? Or whatever consent you are giving me for that data to harness for various purposes. For an example, I have collected for a issuance of passport, I'll issue passport, right? So
True.
first is the data principle, right and duties, and then the second is the applicability. What purpose I have collected the data? Is that I am doing something more beyond for the purpose otherwise which I have collected? If I'm going there, that means I have started violating the principle of data security and privacy,
Correct.
right? Especially the data privacy law. So, as
Okay.
a data fiduciary, my job is to see that, and that is why the recent law which we have enabled, Government of India has enabled the DPDP law. You might have heard the DPDP law starts with saying that as a data fiduciary, now we are responsible if anything or everything. No, I'm not able to properly communicate, or I'm not able to properly kind of take those consents from the principal owner of the data or the data principal. And on the other side, as a data fiduciary, if anything going wrong, you as a data principal, just have to say that I have given this data for a purpose, I find there is a problem. Now as a data fiduciary, it is my job is to prove now, saying that there is nothing gone wrong. In fact, earlier, before the DPDP,
Correct.
this was kind of a other way. The data principal had to prove with a evidence saying that I have not done anything wrong. But it is other way now.
Okay.
Now we have to prove saying that I have not done any wrong. So that is the power given to the data principal, right? So when
Okay.
you talk about data privacy, data security, one is, as I said, that right at the capture point, and that is why you call security by design. What is security by design? Privacy by design. How do you capture data, and from capturing till you transmit data, till you store data, till you harness data, how is that the follow the path of no security integrity of the data, one side, the second side the privacy principle, and in terms of leveraging technology, digital, whatever you name it, how much visibility as a data fiduciary, one side, and other side
Correct.
as a principal owner of the data or the data principal, you are able to create that, right?
Okay.
Again, the problem we do here is you do not understand your workload. We do not understand your the data which you are collecting for, which you will harness, use for a purpose naturally. And also wherever you are keeping in terms of, let's say, capturing in use or during transmission, the data is kept in a vulnerable mode. What one
Okay.
should do at any of these stages, one is the in terms of policy guidelines process, no, between a data principal, fiduciary, transmission channel, everywhere the data must be kept encrypted, right? In
Okay.
terms of capture, in terms of transmission, in terms of kind of a secondary or tertiary use or sharing of the data, right?
Correct.
That is one area one must understand. The other area in terms of data security and privacy is the two more concept. Wherever you are keeping this data in terms of, various purposes, various use cases, whether it is a on-prem data center or whether it is a, cloud variance data centers, right? Today most of the time we are seeking the help of cloud in terms of delivering these services. Two principle one must adopt. One is the principle of observability, right? That means how
Okay.
much you are visible in terms of your data points, in terms of your workload, in terms of your access and authorizations, in terms of your transmission channel. Do you have that visibility or do you have that observability, right? The second very important point is, I think, government, whether it is you or me or any one of us, I think there are some data which is called fiduciary data. There is some data
Okay.
which is called public data. There is some data which is called PII data. Each of the data, it is the department, it is the ministry, or it is the organization who is collecting that data, they must be aware of while dealing with the data in terms of rules of engagement. And when I say rules
Okay.
of engagement, it is nothing but it is the compliances, regulations, and law of the land. In our case, for an example, now it is DPTPR. So if you drive the data holistically, end to end, in terms of process, policies, technology, people, and then you keep this principle right, I don't foresee, at least in our experience, data handling is a big challenge in terms of data security and privacy. But again, the problem is if you don't start with, or if you do not start with these principles, if you do not understand end to end this data flow kind of a mechanism, storage, sharing, then naturally somewhere or other you are going to face these issues. That's how it is.
That's true. That's true. And I think that point that you put across was very good. That as when a citizen is sharing their information, it is the responsibility of the data collection center to inform the citizen that how this data will be used, so that a
True.
citizen, and also what are their rights, because most of the people do not know this. So I think
True.
that point is absolutely necessary, and it's very very essential, so that they know what they are giving and consent to.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Correct.
That's how it should be. That's how it should be. Yes.
So, sir, of course, we want to know that are there any future groundbreaking technologies which are on the horizon that again will impact the e-governance, and how can citizens, stay updated and find out more about these trends which the government is planning to?
No, very important, very pertinent what you have asked. When you talk about future technologies, when you talk about one side technology, other side, let's say, for a larger public good, or I'll say for a global good, both, right?
Correct.
So when I talk about technology, future technology, emerging technology, what does this technology does, as we are discussing, the technology is to empower people, the technology is to
True.
enable people, the
Yes.
technology is to bridge those gaps, those barriers in terms of, as I said, no, education, literacy, economic conditions, right? And the goal of every one of us is, final goal is the development of the nation, adding into the digital economy or overall economy. This is the overall sense, if you ask me, right?
Correct.
So whatever emerging technology you are talking about, whether it is AI, whether it is big data, whether it is a cloud journey, whether it is IT or OT convergence, whether it is blockchain, I can name plethora of these technologies. But the idea is when you are actually leveraging this potential of, let's say, let me quote an example of potential of AI, right? Now AI
Yes.
is all about it's a data hungry kind of a tools technology, right? Now
Yes.
when I'm leveraging that data through the power of AI, two very important thing as a government or public sector or as a policy maker, one need to understand the use of AI. One is, am I violating or am I doing kind of any kind of a biasness in terms of taking decisions? That is one
Yes.
very prime principle of the AI. The second
Yes.
is, am I able to understand the veracity of the data? That means, is the data where I'm leveraging or using the potential of AI, is that data carrying some noise? Right? If
Correct.
these two are no, there is a problem in these two kind of a principle of the data, then whatever leverage you are doing of AI, it is going to give you a result which is maybe doing something else, which otherwise you are looking something else, right? So the
Correct.
idea is when you are leveraging this, no, emerging technology, advanced technology. I always say that my base, my rules, my policies, my processes must be re-engineered first, right? My all those bottlenecks in terms of processes, policies, dependencies must be re-engineered first. If you
Correct.
say that my AI is giving the same result, in spite of I have my backend is not improved in terms of policy, processes, those kind of a bottleneck silos, AI is nothing going to give you nothing. But at the same time, for an example, now if I am leveraging AI for the passport issuance system, I can take, 10 times benefit from the AI because
That's true.
my basics principles are right. Because I understand in terms of those I call 5 Ws. No, I understand my workload, I understand my workforce, I understand my workflow, that is the applications. I
Correct.
also understand my workplace, and I also understand the web. If I understand
Yes.
these 5 Ws, I can harness AI in terms of 4S that I called speed, scale, security, and sustainability. So idea is if I'm harnessing AI for the purpose of speed, scale, security, and sustainability, my those 5 Ws must be intact, must be re-engineered, must be understood first. If I do not understand my workforce, let's say in terms of their roles, in terms of their line of communication, in terms of their functionality, right? Where is that I'm going to apply AI for that purpose? Or let's say if I do not understand my workload in terms of sovereignty, non-sovereignty, in terms of let's say fiduciary, non-fiduciary, where is that AI I'm going to apply? Right? So that's the crux. That's the crux. If you understand for those 5 Ws, if you understand those no kind of a no those kind of a gaps, barriers, those kind of a bottlenecks, and then those data wherever you are collecting, how are you collecting? There's those I told those 5 V's. No, the volume,
Correct.
value, velocity, variety, and variability. So data will hit you from various ways, right? You can collect data, you can gather data. There are a lot of data floating around social media. But what is that AI will do unless your rules of engagement are not correct? Unless your no signatures are not correct, AI will not
Correct.
understand that. You have to first correct it and then probably use AI for various use cases. I just gave an example. I can quote plethora of
Sure.
example in terms of AI, in terms of IoT, in terms of a smart cities. A lot of we are doing that. But just I gave an
Yes,
example. Thank you.
correct. So any kind of future changes that we will be hearing soon from this sector, that something
For
that's
the
coming up.
emerging tech side,
Yeah, from the e-governance side, any new introductions that the people will soon be able to hear in the public sector?
no, absolutely. I think when we talk future of e-governance, when we talk about future of this technology, again, I do not go away with the root. In terms of when I say root, what is the this? I'm looking for future of e-governance or future of technology. The future of e-governance should be in a plain language, in a layman language. It should be simple, right? It should be easy to understand, right? It must be in a way that it do not differentiate between, as I said, all those barriers in terms of economic conditions, literacy, educations, right? It must be human centric. It must be human centric. It must be climate centric, right? And these are all
Correct.
big words. No, when I'm saying human centric, climate centric, right? It must be for a larger public good. It must not be, for the government, the biggest challenge is the scale. I
Correct.
have to deal with that scale. I have to deal with that masses at large, and we cannot differentiate. That means, can we give that digital democratization way of dealing with the people? That is for the larger public good. And at the end, it must be aligned towards your larger cause of the nation in terms of development of the nation, in terms of adding value to the economy, in terms of, let's say, anything or everything, creation of jobs, this and that, right?
Correct.
And at the end, it must be for a global good, right?
Yes.
Give a example, for an example, UPI kind of a platform. Now
Yes.
we are thinking this is creating a global good. Why only in
Absolutely.
India? For an example,
Yes.
our Aadhaar kind of a platform. For an example, our passport transformation journey. These are journeys, these are learnings, these are creations of our country which are citing example across the globe, right? It
True.
is for the larger cause. It is for the larger cause. The last thing is, whatever we do, in terms of governance, e-governance, future of governance, I think somewhere or other we need to understand saying that the technology, the digital, the transformation journey. Uh, as I started with saying that uh, we all need to understand, collaborate, create that kind of a uh, business model, environment, and that is not possible by government alone. You know,
Correct.
there must be a
Absolutely.
collaborative approach. There must be a industry-oriented approach where every
Yes.
one of us, government, industry, academia, research institute, people like you, should join hand, right? And
Correct.
then create that kind of a impact for larger cause and human at large. So that's how I put it, Paridaji. Thank you.
And sir, any last words of wisdom for the people, for the citizens that you would want to share?
Last word for the citizens is, I think now citizens have become much more kind of a smarter. Our journey, government take on the citizens is, we are trying to create an inclusive society, a
Correct.
society who can deliver, a society who thinks for a betterment of larger cause, right? And I'm sure that these technology, these governance transformations, these thinkings, these minds, uh, will enable us a lot of opportunity on the way, right? Which will be
True.
kind of a win-win scenario for every stakeholder at large. And I also put a cautious mark here saying that, if any one of us not joining this journey, or we are not leveraging this potential, I think that section, that organization, whatever I say, they have to be much more kind of a work on those directions. And opportunities are enormous. I don't foresee any kind of a challenge, any kind of a no kind of a issue here. It's just that how judiciously we use this technology, these potentials. And when it's a technology and potential in all sense, in holistic sense, it must not be,
Correct.
it should not be a silo way of dealing the thing. So that's how I put it, Ridaji.
So, sir, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing these amazing insights. I'm sure everyone who is listening and will listen to this podcast in the future will have so much to learn from this and to get to know how the public sector is thinking about the citizens, the various measures that are underway, and all the efforts that the government is putting in, and how every citizen needs to contribute in their part also to facilitate and to join hands with the government, trust them, and get this journey going upwards.
Thank you. Thank you, Faridaji. I once again thanks all for the technology and you having me here. It was a great interaction. Thank you.
So, everyone, signing off, we hope this discussion has shed light on the remarkable innovations that are reshaping government services and fostering greater engagement between the citizens and the public sector. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes as we continue our journey on the Professional's Pulse. Your support and interest are greatly appreciated. Until next time, keep embracing the digital transformation and its potential to create a more efficient and responsive public sector. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Have a nice day.
Thank you.